Okay, in this tutorial, let's make a circular array of 12 cubes with one of the vertices extended out, a nice spotlight down, and great. So let's begin by saying new, reload startup file. Alrighty, and right away let's add an empty to this. So press Shift A and an empty plane axes. And now we want to push the cube back. That's about right. I have 2.5 Blender units or so. And I want to move the origin point, the center of the cube, back to the axes here. So on the left here, when the tool tab is activated, choose Set Origin and Origin to 3D Cursor, just like that. So I had the cube selected, Set Origin to 3D Cursor. Okay, next we will add a modifier. So come over here to Add Modifier and Array and set the count to 12. And uncheck Relative Offset and check Object Offset. Also check Constant Offset. And in this drop-down, choose Empty. Okay. Then on the outliner, you can choose the empty, and what we're going to do is rotate this around the z-axis. Another thing I could do is here on rotation, I could put in 30 degrees and instantly get these out and about. Let me show you how that would look manually. Oops. So starting at 0 degrees, and as it comes back, we're rotating 12 cubes around the plane axis here, the empty axis. And just to make it perfect, I'm going to set that value to 30. Great. Okay, next, I'm going to select the cubes and go over to the materials orb. And that reminds me to go into Cycles Render. And for nodes, we're going to use Diffuse and Color. Let's set it up to sort of a nice blue like that. Okay, good. And then might as well set up the lamp at this point. So hit number 1 on your keypad and then move the lamp over to the center. Number 3 from the other side, move it to the center. And we're going to choose the properties, a spotlight, and I want to rotate that vertically, so just hit R and pull your mouse, and then hit number 1 and hit R and pull your mouse. Okay. Over here under the properties for spot, click Use Nodes and Strength. Let's start with 10,000 and take it from there. While we're at a side view like this, let me hit number 5 to get to ortho view. So I'm in front ortho. That was numpad 5. Left click and Shift A, add a mesh plane and scale it to 10, S10, enter. Good. Next, let's, with this menu open, which I made open with the letter N. If I didn't mention that, I want to lock the camera to view. And now I'm going to press N again to get rid of this menu to save some space. And at this point, why don't we preview and see what we've got going. So I'm going to hit rendered Let's zoom around, and okay, let's straighten things out a little bit. So back to solid. Zoom out. Number 7, and that gives me the top view, top ortho view. Okay, so things are shaping up. I'm going to go into edit mode and right click. I'll hit A to deselect everything, and 1 second. Tab back to object mode to select the cube, and then tab over to edit mode. Okay, and then with the vertex selected here, right click a corner vertex like this and drag it up, and they all move together since they're part of the array. Alrighty, now hit 0 to see what the camera, back to edit mode, tab into object mode, and then hit 0 on your numpad. Zoom out, orbit up, and let's take a preview here now and see how it's looking in a... Okay. It's kind of interesting to have all the light here, but I'm going to spread that light out a bit. So I'm going to come back to lamp in the outliner and take my size wider than 75 and take this size here, instead of 0.1, make it 2, enter. And strength, 8,000. Now if I raise the lamp up a little higher, I won't cut the tips of these off, though it's kind of interesting. But I think I'll do that anyway. So I'm going to go back to solid mode, zoom out. Oh, here we go. Here's the lamp. And just raise it in the z-axis. We might as well have stayed in rendered. Okay, and then up the strength now, 15,000. Oops. There we go. It's starting to shape up better now. Take the size back a little smaller in terms of the cone width, just so I can get a little vignetting at the edge of the plane here. Great. So we're just going to use the default render engine, the default settings. The samples are at 128. We don't need any indirect clamping. And I'll put the GPU compute on and then make that about 75 or more percent and hit F12. And then I'll pause it. That rendered pretty quickly in 28 seconds. And so save this image by hitting F3, or go to your image in the menu here and save as image. And I named it Council of Elders in my previous version, so I'm going to give it number 1 here also. And throw that on your Google Drive, and great. See you on the next one.